right, what up, everyone? Welcome to today's live stream. This one's just gonna be a quick and dirty market update. There is much to discuss. How's everyone doing? That track you guys were just listening to was a track by Bufo on the beat over here. Welcome to the live stream, man. I checked out your audio. It's got plenty of great beats over there. So, folks, make sure to go check out Bufo on the beat on Audius if you guys like that track. Oh. Folks, how's everyone doing? We're live 100%. Now, there is actually a lot to discuss in today's live stream. Buff on the beat saying much love and respect. Dude, you make great music. 100%, man. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's doing okay. So, guys, look, there is much to discuss in today's live stream. Bitcoin's doing a lot of very concerning things. There's a lot of very concerning goings on. And again, we're seeing that reflected in the market. The market is still very fearful. People are scared. I'm scared. I'm not scared. I'm worried. I'm worried based off evidence and pragmatism. So, folks, I want to discuss the short-term picture and how it's really crunch time for Bitcoin. We're really in a make-it-or-break-it territory for several reasons. Bitcoin's losing support. We're in this very narrow range. We can't just mess around this range forever. Eventually, we're going to break up or we're going to break below. We have Bitcoin futures options expiring the end of the month, the 25th. We have Monday coming tomorrow. So Mondays are a big inflection point for crypto because weekends are typically bad and Mondays usually bring recovery. So we'll see if that does indeed happen. And right now, folks, I want to begin incorporating a bit more of stock market analysis extremely begrudgingly. Not because I like stocks at all. I think they're a rigged game and you could make more money playing a game where the rules are clear to everyone in crypto and there's much more upside potential. But with that being said, it's time to start paying attention to the stock market, and I'll share with you guys a few of the goings-ons there and why I'm concerned. And so, look, there's lots of great fundamental reasons to be bullish, lots of reasons to be bearish. So, guys, in this video, I want to go through some of the technical factors that we need to be aware of and some of the things that we need to do in the short term to be aware of what's going on. People are saying there's scammers in the chats. Guys, there's always scammers in all our comments. We will never reach out to you and ask you for your crypto, for your personal information, for your money. Please use your common sense and please understand that there are many scammers out there trying to steal your personal information and your crypto. So don't fall for it. So, folks, let's start off with a giant piece of news. Bitcoin hash rate fell 70% overnight after China cracked down on mining operations. Folks, we are seeing it in the numbers. The hash rate for Bitcoin is dropping substantially. This is typically very bearish for Bitcoin, although we're holding up pretty well as of now. And so, folks, again, this China flood is an ongoing issue. China is continually cracking down on Bitcoin miners. And so what the result of this is that in the short term, big Chinese mining operations are shutting down. Chinese miners are going to have to sell their Bitcoin, and the hash rate for Bitcoin is dropping. That's a short-term issue. But what does this mean over the long term? It means that Bitcoin will become more decentralized. Eventually, the selling pressure from Chinese miners will alleviate, and Bitcoin will become more green because miners now fear, this regulation and will choose greener energy sources. So all this China flood is screaming temporary issue, not a long-term issue. In fact, over the long term, this is fantastic news. This is unfortunately some growing pains that we need to get through in the short term to have the long-term future be a bit more strong, because the more decentralized Bitcoin is and the less China has control over it, the better the long-term future of Bitcoin. So again, this is a short-term issue. Over the long term, this is great in eventuality, and we just kind of had to get through it. This is growing pains. It was either now or a month from now or a year from now. It was going to happen eventually, so we're getting it out of the way. Great. Okay, so the hash rate going down is typically bad. It does, again, we can see last times the hash rate dropped, price dropped. So if we do see a recovery in hash rate, that's a sign that we could hold the line if hash rate continues to drop. It's one other bearish factor. So I want to describe a few things going on here with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, we are losing our trend line here on the wedge, although we're kind of in the middle of it right now. We are losing the VR point of control, this volume, which is quite bearish. Bitcoin really, really needs to get above this range, but more so here at about $35,000. Very, very critical range. Lots of daily candles reacting exactly off this range. So we got to get above this region sooner rather than later to remain bullish, because the longer we stay below these candle body close, see here 1, 2, 3, 4 daily candles reacting off this. If in the next 23 hours we stay below basically 35,500, that's very bad news bears. And see, we did actually put in a lower low below 33,300, but just barely. So staying below this region makes it likely that we could retest at 33,300, and it's the lower lows that makes me concerned, because folks, rejection should be anticipated, but a lower low is bearish confirmation, and each lower low that we make, I will move a little bit more and more into stablecoin. So these are the major lows I'm looking out for: 33,300, 31,000, and then 30,000 as the kind of final marker of the bear market. If we make a lower low below 30,000, an extended correction consolidation cycle is extremely realistic. But we still haven't done it, so no need to freak out. And in fact, it's not all doom and gloom, and I'm going to actually bring it back to some doom and gloom, some things that we really need to be aware of this upcoming week. Giant news we all got to be on top of. But with that being said, I want to present a perhaps a little bit of a bullish scenario, which right now we're looking at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin, and we're seeing that we may very well have a bullish crossover in the 4-hour MACD in the near future here. RSI is making higher highs, stochastic RSI on the way up, weighted MACD on the way up. So I do think it's probable that we could have a bullish crossover in the 4-hour MACD. And I've highlighted all the previous times in the recent past that we've had bullish crossovers on the 4-hour MACD. And 4 out of the last 5 times that we had a bullish crossover in the 4-hour MACD, these vertical lines coincide with price action when we had the bullish crossover on the MACD. And every time it happened, we had a impulse to the upside. So see, most recent time here, 4-hour bullish crossover, we tested the 200 daily EMA. Over here, bullish crossover, we impulsed up. Bullish crossover, uptrend, bullish crossover, uptrend, bullish crossover, slight uptrend, and then a downtrend. So I mean, I'm being a bit conservative here and calling this a downtrend, but we did indeed actually put in a bit of a pump here after that crossover. Bottom line is, the last 4 of the 5 bullish crossover MACDs, we have experienced a impulse to the upside, and this time I don't really even count. I don't even know if you can count this, because this was our first relief rally after the massive flash crash, and so it does make all the sense of the world, since there were stupid amounts of resistance above us, that we wouldn't break above this level the very first time. So this level here is kind of an outlier event over here. So excluding that, folks, the last couple bullish crossovers we had have been pretty significant for Bitcoin here. So not a guarantee that something like this will happen. Again, what happened in the past, not a guarantee of what can happen in the future. But if we do indeed get that bullish cross from the 4-hour MACD, that is a very good sign as well. If we kind of examine the price structure here a bit more closely, and we kind of look at our wedge structure. So there's several ways to draw this wedge, and everyone I see is drawing this differently. But with that being said, I do think one of the ways, or a few of the ways that I have drawn my wedge here is indeed relevant and valid, because price action has been reacting exactly off the trend lines I've drawn. So see here, support exactly off trend line I've drawn from this peak to kind of this one over here. If we just extend that, that's exactly where we're finding support. Here, exactly where we're finding resistance off another trend line. So we're kind of in this range here. So again, we really need to get above, 35,500 again. We gotta flip that $35,000 range. We gotta get above 36,000, because if we can get above 36,000, then we have a chance of retesting that 200 daily exponential moving average. So folks, one other reason why this upcoming week is extremely relevant is because we're seeing weakness in the stock market. And so right here I have the S&P 500 pulled up, I have the Dow Jones pulled up, I have the DXY, and I have the NASDAQ. And I'm seeing very concerning things in the stock market. So I bring this up because crypto is extremely precarious right now. And if we have a stock market crash, then that's going to be the factor that could tip us into an extended correction and consolidation phase. And so right here we're looking at the Nasdaq, and what are we seeing? We're seeing higher highs in price action on the daily paired with lower highs in RSI. Right here you can see all the highs in price action coincides with the lower high in RSI, telling us that the uptrend is running out of strength. We're seeing bearish crossovers on the stochastic, bearish crossovers on the weighted MACD, histogram losing strength. We're quite overextended, and the stock market is completely propped up by the American government. So the second that they stop pumping money into the system, stock market could really pull back. And given how weak Bitcoin is, a stock market, a substantial pullback could be the thing that tips us over the edge to the bearish side. So folks, again, if we examine Bitcoin, just to really hammer home this point here, why this could be pretty significant. If we see here, again, how the, this is a chart of VECHAIN. Why does VECHAIN pull up? Hold on. Let's pull up Bitcoin here real quick. Just give me a second here. Bitcoin, USDT. Here we go. Perfect. All right, same thing. So, if we can see here, how every higher high in price action, here, see higher high, these peaks, each peak coincided with a lower high in RSI. Classic bearish divergence. Look what led afterwards, right? And then if we go back to the Nasdaq over here, higher highs in price action, lower highs in RSI. I'm not saying that we're going to crash. Markets can continue to act irrationally for a long time. We did put in a higher high. We may very well pump soon. But the point I'm trying to get across here is, if we do see a downturn, a substantial one, in the stock market this week, that could be the factor that helps Bitcoin maybe move to the downside. One significant moving average here for the S&P 500 is this 50 daily SMA. We can see how several times here it acted as support. So we're going to test it right now this Monday, and if we lose this as support, oof, that is bad news bears. Plenty of downside potential. So folks, we really got to be aware of a correction or a crash in the stock market this week, in the upcoming weeks, and whenever in the near future. Because if Bitcoin's super precarious and the stock market crashes, that could be a factor that leads Bitcoin, pushes it to the downside. As well, looking at the dollar index, the DXY, this is extremely important to understand what's going on with Bitcoin, because the DXY, the dollar index, has historically been very correlated to what's going on with Bitcoin here. And as of recent, we've been seeing something pretty concerning with the DXY, which is we're seeing a rally, a pump here. And so we're running up against resistance here at kind of this 93 percentile range with the DXY and the slanted trend line based off this peak to this lower high here. And so if we pump up and break through these regions, that's going to be extremely bearish for Bitcoin. It's not the end-all be-all, folks. No one thinks the end-all be-all. But while we're in a super precarious place, while the market's still deciding what's the next major direction, and we're getting macro factors turn bearish for Bitcoin, those could be the kind of the things that tip it over to the downside, right? So, guys, I love to be bullish. I believe in the space long term, but I also want to share with you guys my real opinions, and I think there are a lot of reasons to be worried. There's also lots of reasons to be bullish as well. And, guys, again, there's reasons to be bullish, reasons to be bearish. I kind of want to give you guys both sides of the scenario and prepare you guys for the things that I'm looking out for that could, these things still have not happened yet, that could lead Bitcoin to tip over to the downside. And if Bitcoin tips over to the downside, then alts are going to get wrecked even harder. Well, I don't know about even harder, but they're going to get wrecked pretty bad. So, guys, again, if we find resistance and rejection off these regions, kind of, this zone over here and go down, that's a good sign. As soon as we see signs of a bearish trend reversal in the DXY, if we see that, that is a very, very good sign for Bitcoin. Again, no one thing is the end-all be-all, but what are we seeing? We're seeing stocks looking weak, and we're seeing the dollar looking strong, both two things that are no bueno for Bitcoin. So this week is going to be extremely relevant because we have future options expiring the 25th. We have, again, the stock market will open on Monday. This week's going to be extremely telling. Weekends are typically bad. Weekdays are typically good. So we'll see if we do get that Monday, recovery with Bitcoin. We will see if we get kind of that bullish crossover on the 4-hour MACD. Again, every time it's recently happened, we have had an impulse to the upside. So we'll see if that does indeed happen this time. And on the lower time frames, we are seeing that bit of strength pulled up. Hourly is actually looking pretty weak here. MACD going down, MACD on the way down. Stochastic RSI on the way down. So we are seeing we're right up against resistance. So pretty no bueno to see. But again, 4 hours showing that little bit of strength here. Looking at the 8 hour, even, oh, look at this. 8 hours looking at actually a bit more strength, higher lows, bullish crossover. Wait a minute, yeah, 8 hour even looks strong. Let's take a look at the 12. 12 hour bullish crossover on the stochastic RSI. That's a decent sign, a very decent sign. Actually, you know what? These blue lines could fuck off for a second, because I want to see what happened every time we had a bullish crossover on the stochastic RSI in the 12 hour, because I think this is going to be a fun little experiment to do live, because I think this is actually pretty significant. Because folks, for those who don't know, I love using the stochastic RSI for calling shifts in trends. That's what it's great for. The stochastic RSI here at the bottom here, this blue and yellow moving average indicator here, okay, they're good for calling shifts in trends, but not the extent to the shift in the trend. All right, just that one will occur, or that one is occurring. So let's see what happened the previous times we had bullish crossovers here on the stochastic on the 12 hours. So take a look here. Oof, is this not interesting? Look at these last two times, bullish crossover on the 12 hour stochastic. Right here, look what happened afterwards. Right here, bullish crossover on 12 hour stochastic. Look what happened afterwards. So again, folks, no one factor is the end all be all. And bottom line is here, there's reasons to be bullish, there's reasons to be bearish. So again, what do we need to do to see clarity and get an understanding of what the next direction is? We need further confirmation. We need to see what the price structure does. Again, each lower low makes it more likely that a downtrend could continue, and each higher high makes it more likely that a relief rally could continue. So given that we're smack dab in the middle of all this price action, does it make sense to jump to conclusions when there's reasons to be bullish, reasons to be bearish? In my opinion, no. In my opinion, it's too premature to call things definitively either way. We need to wait out. But point being here, I wanted to make this live stream to really let you guys know that this week is really crunch time for Bitcoin. Again, guys, there's so much happening. I do think, especially if we can hold the line on this trend line, basically where we're at now, and we don't put in a lower low, then we have a good chance of pumping and retesting this 200 daily exponential moving average. And I think the second retest has a better chance than the first of breaking out bullish. And if we can get above this thing, we have a fighting chance of retesting this red trend line at the high 40,000s. If we can get above that thing, then the bull market could continue. But again, guys, stock market looking pretty weak, looking precarious. And when we're at like this kind of critical inflection point and there's macro weakness in the stock market, that could be the tipping factor. Again, this is super concerning, folks. Looking at here at the Nasdaq, higher highs in RSI paired with lower highs in price action. The last time we saw this here with Bitcoin, we saw what happened afterwards. Higher highs in price action, lower highs in RSI. Now the stock market is obviously less volatile, and it is being propped up by the American government, and we'll see if that continues. But there are reasons to be worried. And that's what I want to get across in this live stream. Yeah, look, guys, I'm stupidly bullish on the space long term, right? But I also want to be honest with you guys in what affects this market in the short term. And the stock market correcting or crashing in the short term could be the thing that lets us put in these lower lows, and each lower low that we put in makes it more likely we could break down further, and lower low below 30K. Well, folks, the price target for that is pretty goddamn bottomless. So 30K, as long as we hold that, there's light at the end of that goddamn tunnel. 30K is the point we got to look out for. So that's mostly what I want to say here with Bitcoin. Let's see what else I had on my mind here. Also, it's very good to always just mention this every single live stream. I'm going to mention this because this is like confirmation of the trend, guys. Because again, people can talk about their feelings and intuitions, but this is like this chart right here is telling us what the fuck the market is actually doing. Bitcoin held on exchanges. When the market is fearful, Bitcoin moves on to exchanges if people are selling. When the market's getting prepared, is getting more greedy and a bit more optimistic, Bitcoin leaves exchanges if people are buying. So what are we seeing recently here? Bitcoin is making lower highs and lower lows, meaning Bitcoin is being bought up and leaving exchanges. So if we see a reversal of this trend, that's confirmation of the Bitcoin recovery. So let's see what you guys are saying here. Do I need to clarify further? Please let me know if I need to clarify, if I kind of jumped over something too quick, if something wasn't clear with what I'm looking out for. Let's see what you guys are saying. Bufo's saying, I'm too scared, still sitting on cash. Look, man, yeah, look, sitting on cash is definitely the smart thing to do. I've been aping into shit. Extremely risky. I could lose a lot of unrealized gains. Definitely do as I say, not as I do. Tell everyone straight. It's dumping. Come on. Jamie Smith is saying, yeah, tell everyone it's dumping. Guys, no. There could be a relief rally. There's reasons to be bullish. There's reasons to be bearish. We need to wait for further evidence and confirmation. I know that's a crazy thing in the space to a lot of people, but we need to wait for evidence and confirmation to be more confident of the next major direction. And yeah, guys, look, I'm not lying to you. I'm telling you guys, this live stream is titled, this thumbnail is titled, I am worried. It is time to be worried because there's reasons to be worried. But at the end of the day, I don't think there's reasons to jump to conclusions, at least in my opinion. Everyone wants to call a bull market. Everyone wants to call a bear market. I think we need to wait on the sidelines and wait for more confirmation. Luke Carter says, yeah, I'm keeping my powder dry currently. I'm feeling another drop when NYC opens. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Again, folks, stock market is looking no bueno. It is looking weak. And we got not only the stock market, but the DXY, the dollar index. Whenever the dollar pumps, Bitcoin typically does bad. So we have stock market weakness and dollar strength. Oof. Two major factors that are no bueno for Bitcoin. So we'll see how we react this week, guys. We'll see what happens. Again, Mondays are typically good. Seems like we're having that 4-hour bullish crossover on the MACD. Seems like we have indeed have had that bullish crossover. So we'll see what happens with that. We are right up against resistance. And in the short term here, what we need to look out for to start having a bit of hope is we need to start getting above these VPVRs. See how there's the kind of two clusters, one at 36,700 and another one at kind of 36,000. We really need to flip those two ranges. And again, here looking at the daily, these daily closes here, right at this 35,500 region, extremely critical. Look at that, super critical base here. We need to get above that volume, then we can test the 200 EMA, then we can test that trend line, then we can go on our merry way to 100,000 and beyond. So, folks, I wanted to just make this a quick and dirty market update. This is the weekend. We typically take time off on the weekends and don't pump out as much content. Come Monday, we will have much more to bring you guys. All coin analysis, shit tons of news. So make sure you stay tuned for tomorrow's live stream. I think I'm going to cut this one a little bit early. Just want to give you guys a brief update on what's going on with Bitcoin. Again, much more to follow tomorrow on Monday. Folks, thank you all so much for being here. Bull market or bear market, we're here to stay. Folks, like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that bell icon to be notified of new uploads.